Hello, good evening everyone. I'm back online. Sorry I'm a little bit late. For some reason I had like a hard time signing in with my Restream super app to see all your comments and chat. So, but now I should be there, and hopefully like this time the internet won't go crazy. But no, you know, I streamed this morning on my channel and everything seems to be fine. So yeah, like basically, I just wanted to play around with this. I wasn't sure of what it was made yet, but I did like some kind of zigzag pattern like that, like on the on this sleeve. Well, we don't really see it because I actually lighten the scene. But yeah, in the upcoming stream, I'll try to bring some of the parts that are already done, because right now I feel like there's many things that I've done that we don't see in this stream or in this Z tool. So I'll start bringing some of the parts, and even like for me as reference, I think it's always good to have a great design. Well, great design. I think I'm pushing a little bit far on this, but at least like to see my design and see how I can bring some of the similarities and design cues back into the so yeah, I just felt like this kind of pattern, it felt like kind of a more sci-fi. It's almost like the astronaut kind of I really want like this suit to feel like a suit and not just like some latex thing that she puts on. So I don't know, and at the same time it got like a little bit of the Star Wars feel into it, like like the waffle kind of look of a waffle jacket. So I hope everybody's doing alright. This time I can see the chat in that's the thing I forgot to mention, like this time I can see the chat in Facebook. Now it's not only limited to YouTube and Twitch, so feel free to comment, tell me about your life, your mission, life, whatever. So it's a little bit slow because I got the whole thing, so I will just isolate a part, and I'll remove the ground because I find it a little bit annoying. Here you go. So basically what I did was just like I did some cuts in there with the damn sander, and now I'm going back in with just like the standard tool, just to give like some kind of cushion kind of a feeling instead of having something super flat. And one of the thing that there's another sculptor, which I completely forgot who actually gave me that advice, but yeah, he just told me like when you do dam sander, like creases, like cracks, they should never be left alone like that. So what it means by that, it's if I do like I'll just go to my cuts, I do like another cut like that, it should never be just a cut. It should always be once you actually did that, you should always go back and do like an inflate or a pinch, because like real life cracks usually they tend to stick together a lot more, especially if it's stitches. They kind of I don't know if you can see it in my I'm just like trying to see my video, like like I don't know if you see my ends, but basically when it folds like that, so it's like kind of a rounder, and sometimes it even goes like a more like towards the inside, but all that shape around here, like it's still all round, but if you just leave it open, it will just create like some kind of crease like that. So yeah, you'll get like even like visually, it's even if like it's not perfectly round, you will still get that illusion of something that it's yeah, a lot more tighter and it will be I think more convincing. So yeah, for this, like I kind of like the, because another thing is like when I use the end plate, I get this bulge next, you know, to the crease, which, you know, reinforce that idea that it's like tension that it's like pulling inside. So yeah, so we'll just continue. I'm putting like lines randomly. Yeah, some of the creases were like not deep enough, so by doing my end plate, I kind of killed the whole effect. So I'm just going to go back and fix it. And one of the things that I always try to keep in mind is like once I did that, now like the folds are starting from, you know, basically the sides. It's because like probably this pen is actually squashing the cloth. So I'll try like to go back in and do some of the, I don't want to do too much because it creates like a noise, and yeah, usually I go back with the smooth. But yeah, I don't want to do too much, and sometimes I'll use the AccuCurve with the dam sander just to have like a something soft, but at least it gives us like a hint of where it's going and what it's doing. And I kind of like do it like, but it needs to be lightly because see, even now like I feel like it's starting to be a little bit too much. So I'll just go back, and you know, you see like I'm constantly like going outside and then going in and outside, because when I'm so close, it's really practical to work. Even if I'm like kind of low res right now, it's that's another thing. Like for me, I feel like if I go too high in my subdivisions, my folds will be so sharp that they won't look natural. But if I stay like usually like I'm there like one step under or two steps under, and then I start sculpting with this, when I'll go up, if it wants to switch, it will still keep that kind of soft effect, you know. But I can always like go back and still like refine this. And keep in mind that, you know, this is like made on purpose of using surface noise after that to really get like that finer texture. I use like sometimes the just like the alphas and I stem them, but I rather use the surface noise because it gives me like an even pattern with the same scale and all. I feel it's easier to control. And yeah, sometimes it depends on which kind of detail, but I'll use also a nano mesh. But yeah, that's the thing with nano mesh, and same thing with the surface noise. I usually kill my scenes. I mean, like they become so heavy, it's nuts. So yeah, it's like usually something that I'll do like completely at the end of the. I will just like work and keep that in mind. So hello guys. Just wanted to say hello to everyone. So yeah, so I don't know if I actually put in. I guess not. You guys don't see like the questions in the stream, right? It's only me. Like yeah, I set up like this thing, but I completely forgot to do it with the Pixologic one. So basically, one of the question is actually what kind of printing tech I use for 3D printing, and how many polys are accepted to use other programs for posing the character. So, you know, we'll start with 3D printing. Like one of the things that right now, like I didn't use a lot of them. I only like did some tests with some friend with on the Form 2. It's not XLab, it's a Formlabs Form 2 printer, like the resin one. So like an SLA type of printer. That's mainly, you know, what I'm looking at like for my things, because like the title mentioned, like I want to do like high-res prints. So yeah, it's for now like FDM just doesn't cut it. Like the only reason why I would actually use FDM for some of my stuff is like if I got like some base or some detail that I know that it will not have like any kind of detail, or you know, I will probably like maybe mix up some of the parts. but once again, it always depends on the project. But the printer that I'm looking to actually get is the Anycubic Photon. I think it's a Chinese printer, and basically it got like pretty decent result. It's not as good as the Formlabs, but the price is like kind of cheap. Like with it's well, it's not an SLA. They call it like a DLP, and from what I heard, like it's not really a DLP. Like at this point, like I got like a hard time following, but yeah, basically it's based like with on LCD and like a UV lamp, and that will like from what I understood, like the LCD would actually change mask and will reveal some of the parts of the light of the UV light. I don't know if that makes sense, but and yeah, like it will cure different parts of your in the tub, like different part of the resin, and will extract slowly like the model. So yeah, but yeah, from what I heard, like doing this with hey, thanks for the follow, but yeah, from what I heard, like since it's using like a LCD, it's and usually like LCDs got like that screen or protection on them against UV lights, because it will wear them out like quicker. So yeah, so that's definitely like something that you know, you might be worried, but I know that they even on their YouTube channel they show you how to change the LCD screen. So yeah, for me it's like, first off, like, you know, I'm kind of a it doesn't look like that, but I'm kind of a manual guy, you know, like working with machines and stuff like that, hands on, like I don't really mind. So if I need to repair it, I'll repair it. And the second thing is, like, right now, like the whole 3D printing thing, it's almost like the computers, it grows so fast that I'm pretty sure by the time it wears out, like I'll want to actually upgrade to get a new printer, almost like a computer. So yeah, it's, yeah, for now, like and it always depends on your goal as well. For me, like the main goal is like to get the best for the price print, but I want to be able to prototype and test a lot of stuff without worrying about the price of the resin. That's one of the main issue. So because right now I feel like, you know, I love the quality of the 3D printer from XLab. If I would be like loaded with money, I would probably like get some, but yeah, I just feel like to experiment and try new things. It's, yeah, it costs a lot, and that's the thing, like I just want to do as many, you know, testing as I can without worrying about the cost too much. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And yeah, the other thing is like I'm really into molding and casting. So yeah, it's like I rather like not spend too much on the printer and have a decent quality, and then spend more on the molding, like getting like a how to call it, like a vacuum, like a pressure pot, basically, to remove bubbles and stuff like that. We'll probably like build one at some point, but and that's one of the thing, like we'll see you know, how the stream actually works out. But like on the Pixelogic channel, I will probably just keep on going with the ZBrush. I'll actually do like the software part, but yeah, maybe on my own channel at some point I will just like shift everything towards what I do with my master, basically my master resin print, how I cast it and how I make like copies and stuff like that, just in case like it might interest someone. And since it's going to be live, then you guys will be able to do it at the same time as me or ask me questions about it. But it will be like a, you know, that's the thing I want to really say, like I'm so far from being a pro. Like I work in the video game industry during the day, so in the evening it's really more a pastime. I'm kind of passionate about the whole concept of creating something that doesn't exist. And yeah, I just want to see where I can go with that. I think that we live like in crazy times, and yeah, I just want to, and since it's actually still affordable, you know, compared to a few years back. I think it might be a good time to try it out. So I hope that answered your question regarding printer. Accepted polygons, yeah, that is like a hard one, because it really depends on which kind of printer you got, because every software that goes usually with the printer, it's a different story. For me, like right now, like the test that I did are like around 3000 polygons, but I know that you can go higher than that, and some needs to go lower, and I know that it always depends as well on the size of the part that you're printing. Because another thing sometimes I do is like, let's just say instead of doing like one print of one figure, I will split that figure, and of course in the more parts you split it into, of course you'll get more cuts and you'll need to do keys, but at least you'll be able to get more resolution. Let's just say if you want to stay like in the 3100 polygon, then yeah, let's just say like instead of doing a full character, I'm actually splitting the end, the forearm, and then the bicep and the shoulder. All of those parts will be separate parts, so they all can have like 300 polygons, but 300,000, I mean. But yeah, it always depends on where you want to go with that. But that's one of the great things is like they all got softwares, like just the Formlab ones. They got I completely forgot the name of their software, but basically you can just download it for free, and yeah, you just load up your STL or OBJ in it, and it will tell you right away if it works or not. And then you can do all that prep before printing, way before you buy a printer, just with that kind of software. Usually I bring it to Mesh Mixer as well. I find like the Autodesk one is like a great tool to prep my meshes before printing, and it will show you like with the end spec like what kind of errors you're getting or you might get with like another app. So I do like yeah, I know that there's like this one, and there's another one as well that I'm using. I don't know if I can, just give me a second, I'll double check just in case. It's been a while since I prep a mesh. Yeah, there's Mesh Mixer and Mesh Lab, and the one from, yeah, I thought I got it and I installed it, but I guess it was at the office. But yeah, just look up on the Forum Labs website. You'll find it like pretty quickly, I'm pretty sure. So I'm cleaning my parts. I know that for some of you that might be redundant, but since I'm chatting at the same time, I hope it's not like too boring. So I'm just like cleaning the mesh that I extracted, and I'll zero mesh it. And the last question was it's if I use like another program for posing. That's something that I never did it, but it's like clearly something in my mind. Like it's right now I got like a rig in Maya that I would really like to actually I wouldn't like skin and rig the thing. I would more let's just say like I do my sketch just before like I did here, like in a T-pose, and then I will I will cut the parts of my sketch in ZBrush, import it, then just parent them so they will be like cut, like no skin at all. And the main reason is just like I want to pose my stuff to be sure I keep my proportions from the forearms and stuff like that, because if I use like the transpose in ZBrush, of course, but that's what I did like for this sculpt. I never went with like a base mesh to keep the proportion, and yeah, some of the stuff are actually off, and I would rather start with having like a cool pose, something that holds up and the proportion are good, and then go like kind of dynamic, if you like, because that's one of the thing I kind of like to add like to my sculpt, is like going to the, I don't know if you guys ever heard about Michael Metesi, who did like the force drawing books. You know, it's almost like comic book like or cartoon kind of like. You know, like all that's kind of squish or like gesture. You know, the action line and stuff like that. Like it's super amplified, and that's something that I really like to do in sculptures. I feel like it's a lot more dynamic. And I know that even like a while back, I know that Todd McFarlane on YouTube, he did like some kind of video like talking about that, how all everything was extreme in comic books, like expressions and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just felt like he had like a really good way to explain what I'm talking about right now. So I'll finish cleaning this up. So yeah, so that's something I want to try out. Like for now it's not the case. I know that we got like the in ZBrush the certain tools, or it was here the mannequin. Well, yeah, I can't remember where it is, but I know it's like in one of those files, like in the software files, where basically it's the same concept. It's just that it doesn't have like the same proportion. The main reason why I would rather use my mesh just to pose is just like because I mentioned like a few times when I pose my model, sometimes, you know, let's just say like this leg, once it's in pose, then I don't know, I look at the negative shapes and I see what stick out. But maybe like when it was straight, it wasn't like obvious. But now that it's like in pose, I would, you know, I will take like mental notes and just start sculpting again. So yeah, I'll just like pose my kind of rough parented rig, import it to ZBrush, and then move my my sketch, and then resculpt, you know, on top of it. Would be almost like just a reference mesh. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. So like always, I always like to ask, where are you guys from? Where in what part of the world are you watching this? It's something that I always like to hear and know, so feel free to say it. And by the way, I'm in Quebec City right now in Canada. So for you wonder from where I'm streaming. Just want to be sure it fits well on the, and I would rather align it right now than later. Okay. So let's go for this. Yeah, I mentioned that before, but yeah, one of the reason why I put it like slightly thicker, it's mainly because this has the purpose of being 3D printed, and in the end, all those separate parts that I do to clean them up and play with them like independently will all be merged together like as a boolean to be like one tight watertight mesh. I mean, and yeah, that's why I rather like have them like more deep than floating over like my leg geometry. So I'm putting some of the creases right on the corners because the loop doesn't go there. And so all the angles, all hard angles that I want to keep, I'll put some. Okay, and then I'll go with the loop. Whoops. I always try the partial. Sometimes it gives me like a better result, but not in this case. So let me get back at the chat. I see like, oh nice, you guys are like from all over the world. I'll just answer like the question like higher and from YouTube, and then I'll go and read your location. How is it feasible for total zero knowledge to take up on ZBrush as a hobby and print your own? I mean, it's 100% feasible. You know, it's like, that's the thing with ZBrush. You know, it's like okay, like it might not be easy to learn because it's definitely work like you cannot relate the way it works to like other software. It got really like his own thing going on. But I mean, nowadays there's like so much what the hell happened? There's like so much tutorials and videos showing you how to learn stuff, and it's like it's an ongoing process. But I mean, it's, you know, it's, yeah, I mean, it's totally feasible. It's and to be honest with you, like right now I don't feel, and I'm not like, you know, like working for Pixologic or anything, even if I stream on the channel. It's just like, to be honest with you, right now I don't feel like there's no software that does like the equivalent sculpting wise for this. I know that like there's other softwares coming up, but for me it's, I mean, it's really like a different kind of I'm trying like to find the right words, but it's really innovative, if you want it, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I think go ahead. I mean, in the end, what's cool about it is like it's so close from clay sculpture. So if you know how, you know, you work around your way around with clay sculptures, I mean, all the other, you know, fancy tools that I use, it's like it's something to make your life easier. But if you're really good at clay sculpting, then you won't even need to rely on those, or, you know, a good majority of it. And that can be like a, I just want to be sure like the line was continuing there. But yeah, it's like it's but yeah, it takes time. Like for me, it took like quite a while, and every year I'm learning like new things and I'm switching my workflow. But you know, at the same time, I work like in the video game industry, so I'm not just 3D printing. It's basically my job. So it's, and sometimes I find like tricks for like, you know, game pipeline rather than printing. So yeah, it's, yeah, I think if you're really motivated and all, I think that's a good investment. So let me get back at, where are you guys from? Okay, Orlando, Colombia, Egypt. No, right now all my prints are still you know, prototypes, but it will come. I mean, it's clearly something I intend not just to tease you with the ZBrush sculptures, but it will come. It's just yeah, right now it's like since it's like a big learning process even for me, like for you know, 3D printing, I'm kind of how can I say that? Like I do a print, I learn quite a bit from it, and then I apply it on my other sculpt, and then I kind of build up like that. So I feel like right now it's more like a kind of a learning process than like a showcase of, you know, what I can print. But yeah, no worries, guys. Like the main goal is like to have something to show and learn from, especially for myself. So just wanna. What, Cal didn't change the stream title? I don't know. Like usually, that's the thing. Like it's a special this week. Like I'm streaming on the Monday, but yeah, usually I stream on Thursday. It's really because I couldn't this week, so that's why it's a switch up. Hey, what's up, Mario? What printing method do I use? You mean what kind of printer, or if I do like a hollow mesh? Not sure I understand. Right now, like the printers I use are liquid resin. They're not really FDM filament. So you guys are using what kind of a printer are you guys using? Are you using resin as well, like liquid resin, or? I mean, now like there's like so many printers, it's super hard to keep up with. I wanted to check the Slash Plus as well, which look like pretty interesting. More expensive, but the result seems to be quite nice. Yeah, I think I'm at that's the thing, like I'm you know I'm just like you guys. I think I just want to get like on board with all of this thing, and I got like I was kind of lucky because I already knew like ZBrush pretty well because of my video game background. So that's why basically why I'm doing dual streams. And at the same time, it's like an excuse for me to actually spend some time, you know, sculpting for 3D printing, because I feel like if I wouldn't have like a specific time an hour, I would, I would probably like never find time to do it. So having this and having this nice chat with you guys, it's cool because it's kind of it motivate me. So that's something that, right now, even if it's me that we all see sculpting, I think I would love to see what you guys can come up with, and if this becomes like a gathering for 3D printing and showcase, and we're all working on some 3D print stuff. I think that would be really awesome, and even like to share your findings and stuff like that. There's no reason why we couldn't all improve at the same time. So, and yeah, if I find like that's one of the things like I probably never mentioned, but all the steps I will actually find our technique to help out with the 3D print, or even like the mistake that will happen with 3D printing, and I intend like to share everything. So I mean, it's, yeah, if somebody can actually learn from my mistake and not spend money on resin or filament and do the same mistake, then that's cool, I think. Another thing that I'm trying like right now is like because even for me, and those streams are like a lab for many things, with like technique included, and that's one of the things like for this I'm actually trying not to use Max or Maya to do like low res kind of mesh. I just want to see like how far I can push it and have something clean, and because I kind of really like staying in the ZBrush interface, with polygroups and stuff like that. Even creases, it doesn't destroy them if I stay here, but if I send it out, like sometimes there's like stuff that get lost between the GOZ, and yeah, it's since I'm doing this for my pure pleasure, and I'm not like on a specific deadline, I got a little bit of room to experiment. So for this, one of the main reason why I could have used like just a cylinder, but what I like to do with this is if I did my job correctly on the shape underneath, it will keep the exact same. So because like if you see, like there's nothing really cylindrical about it, and of course I could always like try to move and realign, but with this I'm sure 100% that even if I push out, it will, well, mostly like following the shape underneath. And once again, it's like I'm just trying like to find like new ways to see if this will work out better or faster. So, and yeah. So yeah, just heading back to the chat. Just want to be sure like I'm not missing anyone from Facebook. Hey, cool. Got people from Nepal. That's nice. And oh yeah, you used the farm too. You're super happy with it. That's great. Great stuff. See, like right now, like I'm reading like the questions, and they're like some of them, to be honest with you, like I didn't like figure out everything. It's like, like someone is actually asking what's the best scale to actually sculpt, and like in ZBrush you don't really have like any sculpt size defined, but I know that there's like a plugin for I'm not even sure I'm actually using one up to date, but wait, 3D print hub, and basically you can specify your but once again, like even that, like I need to try like the latest one, but yeah, basically I like some issues, but usually I try like to keep like it doesn't matter, it could be like 30 millimeter as long as all my parts that I'm exporting are the same size. But usually like the app from the the 3D printer will have like a size ratio where you can actually modify proportionally how big you want it. So I mean, that's usually how I define it. When I do my detail, of course, if I want to do like a miniature, like a Warhammer figure, I won't, like on my sculpt, I will actually won't like fill it with like crazy little detail, because I know that this will probably not translate through. But yeah, it's like for wall thickness, like that's another thing, like if I know already before I sculpt what size I want to have it for, it's like let's just say we go for a 12 inch or 30 centimeter, which is kind of big, then I will, all my thickness I will try to get, if I'm doing wings, then we'll try like to put them like thick, but it's just to be sure it's gonna go through. But like I'm pretty sure there must be like tools out there to figure out like what's the best size for a thickness, to be certain they don't become so thin that they're like almost translucent. But yeah, it's still something I need like to figure out, the best way to get this across. So and there's like so many questions I can barely keep up. Okay, I know that someone is actually asking. It's Sean Lake. He's asking about he set like the scale in. Sorry guys, I'm like kind of barely sculpting at the same time, but he said that he set like the scale of the sculpture like in ZBrush, but when it got in simplified 3D, it was like way off. And one of the things that I noticed is like, and once again, I don't know if it's the plugin or it's like the type of file format, but I found like sometimes I got like size difference between like an FBX, OBJ, and STL for some reason like they don't gather the same info the same way. And yeah, the most of the time, like the I'm tempted to say like the best success that I had was with STL, but I remember at the same time sometimes I just loaded an OBJ because the STL wouldn't work, but the OBJ worked. So yeah, sometimes like I will try like different format up until I find it, and even like the export options. Like I've said, like mine, I think it's buggy and it's like a old plugin. Not even sure you can actually still download it. But if I go back to my 3D printed hub, there's come on. See, like there's like 3 options over here, like for all tools, per subtool, and use size selected. I know that like in those options sometimes I need like to play around with in those to actually get like a decent result. And even like the that's the thing, like I got confused because at the office I got like another plugin for 3D printing, which I don't know why, but one of the things that I remember was like you could like export only selected, export all, or only visible. And for some reason, even if I did export all, it wouldn't export everything out. So yeah, I like to resolve, like try all of them, and sometimes I would just do like a mashup of different export just to get what I want. But yeah, it's maybe it's me that actually didn't use it properly, but or it was my ZTL that was like kind of corrupted. But yeah, I just didn't want to bother too much. I just like try as much as I could, and it seemed to work out, like in kind of a clunky way, but at least work out. So, and I was able to print it. So the Venom, I don't know if you see like on my ArtStation, and then it post the images, but like the Venom that I did like in the speed sculpting, that's the one I tried out for that. Yeah, yeah. Well, the Vinci 360 is actually asking like you got like different parts and you want to keep them as a whole, and that's even like right now that's something that I definitely want to document at some point and just put it online, because yeah, that my issue was exactly that. Like if you do like update size ratio, I think they all will become on the same kind of in the same size range. If you like they will all be proportionate. So if you move like those sliders, they will still all move in a uniform manner. I think that's how I made it. And because like my issue was exactly that, like as soon as I would export to my my 3D printing software, I would get like huge problems with like the size difference. Like the head would be kind of 1/3 bigger than the rest of the body, and of course you don't want to do that, because in my case I had like keys, like insert keys to put in like the parts together, and of course if the keyhole is like too small or too big for the key to fit in, then your parts won't work. So to be honest with you, someone is asking what's the best material for printing toys and characters. I don't have a clue. Like right now, like I'm doing like you know, that's the thing. I'm still like testing out resin, but I know that for casting, right now I'm casting with polyurethane, but I know that some of them are using uh, like polystone, like something I want to try out is just like if I can actually just put like a rock powder mix up with like polyurethane, you know, some crazy mix up like homebrewed kind of thing, you know. I'm not even sure it's gonna work, but it's, yeah, I'm willing to try it out. And I've been like talking to the guys at Smooth On if that would make sense, and you know, they told me, yeah, you should try it out and and see if it works. But I wouldn't, you know, of course, like they recommend not using like the like a 5 gallon of uh, of that stuff. But I mean, at least, you know, do like some kind of a, just to get like something, because that's the thing. Like I just want to get like the most resistant thing, not too heavy, but and still I have like a little bit of weight. So yeah, I'm still like kind of brand new to all of this, but I like to experiment. So, and at the same time, there's still, you know, if you look online, there's still like guys who actually try out like a few things or got really good techniques. So it's definitely something that I'm trying to build up on. Okay. I'm talking so much, I'm barely focusing on what I'm doing. It's definitely a challenge, talking and sculpting at the same time, especially when you don't have like a concept or anything like that. It's but it's all right. I like it. I'd rather chat and sculpting than be in my main cave and hear myself breathing. Uh, so, I apologize if this is like a little bit redundant from for some of you, but yeah, I just need like to get through this, and then after that we can do the good stuff. But like anything, it's all steps. And but maybe one thing that I can do for this is the bevel. And crease by polygroup. So if I go Do you sculpt a character on a pose? Right now, yeah. I'm actually, you know, it's, yeah, as soon as I'll get like a little bit of time, I will just like show you the whole character that I've been sculpting. This is only like a partial part of the, but I got the whole face and helmet and sleeve and all that craziness. The reason why I did that was just because it became so slow. I could barely work, and yeah, my computer at home, it's not like something. I want to get like something stronger, but yeah, for now it's pretty shitty. So, you know, there's no excuse not to sculpt, even if you got like a shitty computer. That's what it's cool about ZBrush. It's still like forgiving when you're doing like only sculpting. It's where it eats up the machine. It's when you're doing like processes, you know, like ZRemesh or Dynamesh or any kind of a. But if you're just like sculpting on clay, usually it's not that power hungry like. Okay. So. If you guys see something that you're kind of wondering what I'm doing or what that I just did, feel free to ask. I mean, even if it's like about the stream is like for 3D printing, it's one for ZBrush and sculpting as well. So, or even like anatomy or whatever. Just throw them in. If it can help out others, then why not share or ask. So right now I just want to replace like this bit. So I'll go in. Maybe before I start the radial symmetry, I will just delete a couple of loops just to get like that kind of bevel that we had earlier. Just go and do nothing just to be sure. There you go. Since this part is gonna be like pretty small, like on the over here, I'll create like a good bevel just to be sure we can clearly see it, and then from there, that's the thing. Like yeah, I like to use just a radial symmetry, but I think I'll go with this instead, just for practice. Because every time that I see like all those names, I need just like to remember them all, because yeah, oftentimes I'm kind of looking, trying to find. Well, basically those names don't tell me nothing. Like it's sometimes I feel like they're hard to understand, but like a polygroup border inner, that kind of makes sense. But like polygroup island, what's the difference between island and? There's probably one, but I never really took the time to check, if I'm being honest. What am I looking for? Polygroup all. Okay, that should be it. And then, like always, taper. Okay, and maybe come on. I'm just trying to get this thing to come out. Come on, man. It's because I'm in symmetry. I was hoping it would work with that, but okay. In that case, that's when. Where are you? Okay. Are you still a guy? Are you guys are still with me? Damn, almost like inverted that sentence. Hey, thanks, Carrie Dan Elliott, or Carrie Da Elliott. Carrie Dan Elliott. So now we'll I don't know what I just did, but that might work out, or maybe not. Just having fun. I don't know really where I'm going with this, but yeah, maybe I'll try it just like that before I go. One of the things that I will do in that case, instead of I want to go back and see, oh, okay, maybe that didn't really work out, because if I recall right, if I duplicate it and I move it around, it will not, like the radial symmetry won't work. I know that there's like a posable symmetry, That usually never works with me, but we'll try it. Maybe if you guys are there, I will get lucky. So I'm pushing this in. No, the chat went radio silent. Don't tell me I already answered all your questions. But it's alright. More time for sculpting. Like this time around, it's kind of a sci-fi military cyborg that I'm doing, but I'll probably switch it up. Like next time I'm doing like another sculpt, it will be probably like a medieval kind of fantasy thing. I got like something I'm thinking about, so I think that would be cool. So yeah, I'll try like to switch it up just to be sure I'm not always doing the same kind of stuff, and it will give me like new challenges at the same time. So. There's something clipping through. Oh, okay. It's okay. So yeah, so I'm quite happy with it, but you know, just try it out. Since I did like a posable symmetry, is it still working? Not sure at all. It says pose. That's weird. It says posable symmetry, but is it really keeping? Not really. If I look at this pin, the next one should be this one, or at least like go this way. Or, but now it's, yeah, it's not what I want at all. But that's sadly that's the main reason why I don't use it. I wish it would store like in memory the pose. So, but oftentimes like I kind of with all the zero measures and stuff like that, I kind of break it, even if I don't really you know, notice it when I break it. But when I want to use it afterwards, I'm just like, oh, it's done. So I hope it's not too boring. Me placing parts on the sculpture, and slowly like I'm pushing back in like the parts. So yeah, now that I got like my thing, it's more and more fleshed out. Come on. just hide this. I do, someone is asking what I do in video games. I actually do characters at Ubisoft. Yeah, I've been working in games for I guess a little bit over a decade, so doing AAA games. And yeah, right now I work at Ubisoft in Quebec City. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Like, and sadly, the project I'm working on, I cannot talk about it. So, but I guess when it's gonna get announced, then I'll be able to say it. But in the meantime, it's gonna be a secret, like many, many other, you know, game artists. Always working on those secret projects up until they get announced. I'm gonna place a couple of cubes like that, just around. One of the reason why I like to do that before I merge everything is just like right now it lives on its own, so, and I will be able to make like a low res mesh, because like right now if I would be like sculpting this, like it's, even if I go down at the, see, like it's so blocky, and if I want to have like a low polygon kind of block over here, it doesn't give me like a, of course I could always like mask or try to subdivide that specific region, but most of the time like you're kind of, you know, losing, especially if you're going with like a full body like that, at some point you'll start like losing resolution at some place, and it will, you know, ZBrush will tell you, no, you reach out like the maximum poly count. So, but by doing this, you know, isolated, then I can control this, and like you saw, like there's no reason why you cannot duplicate those parts once they're made and then place them around. So it's like a reuse. And even like for this, you got like the, I didn't do it, but there's the initialize cube. Yeah, I think it just reset my cube, but yeah, basically without all the subdivisions. Usually that's what I am trying to do, but since I'm a little bit distracted because I'm chatting at the same time, I kind of forgot. But yeah, that's another way to go. But for this, I will just do a zero measure, and that should be good enough. Yes, there's already a studio open in Chicoutimi, but I think it's only they're not doing production. They're not doing actual games. They're like more like supporting other ongoing games. But I think it's online, but I'm not even sure. But I'm not even sure if they actually produce any content, or it's more IT. I don't have a clue. So if I just do a couple of, I need to remove some of the subdivisions because it's keeping my the shape, and I want it more rounder, like the sculpt that I did underneath. see something closer to that. And since I want it softer, I will, instead of putting like 3 in the like subdivision creases, I will put 1 or 2, and the crease will actually get released. I mean over here, instead of 3, I'll put 2, and we'll just try to divide that. Maybe 1. So at least it keeps like kind of a little bit of edge, but not too much. And then at this point, there's nothing stopping you just to just polish it. Okay, next. If I don't need 5 subdivisions, I will just delete just to keep like the scene lighter. And what's the button of the several modelers appear? Over here? This? I'm not sure. Not sure which one you're talking about. Hey, have a good night, man. If you want to do an Eyepatch, I would just you can just you can use a sphere if you like, but I'll do this quickly. Yeah. Just so you mask it out. Oops. Then I will sharpen the mask. Extract at 0. No smooth. Extract. Accept. Then this is my Eyepatch. Then there's many ways to do it, but I never tried out this way, but I'm sure it's gonna work out. So let's just see, I got my Eyepatch, and then depending on whatever you want to do, it's I would probably remesh that, or maybe not. At least it's like cleaner. Then I would just edge loop thickness. Hello. I think you already got thickness, huh? Not sure why, but because I did. That's why. Yeah, usually like you need to wait. You need to remove the double-sided, and then. My bad. I'm trying to do this quick. Wow, okay, wait a second. Go back to my sphere, extract. I'm not sure I understand why I got that. Is it because it's not a polymesh? I wanted to show you something so simple, and I'm like shooting myself in the foot. And now it seems like I can't. Well, here we go. So this is my okay, and now then you could go crazy and do see, like I won't make like 2 holes, but could go in and there's many ways to do it, but the other one could have been I could have just like mask a region, delete that, do a polygroup, delete that polygroup, and then do my edge loop to have thickness, and I hope it doesn't crash. What? what they'll happen. Like 30-second left. The last thing is like if you want to do just if you would just want to do like a that cord that goes like around the head, then curve. Just need like to snap. You need like your head to have only one subdivision level, but yeah, you just need like to have like one subdivision level, and this is like kind of tricky the way to use it. It's like for me like maybe I can show you that like just before I finish. Like there's like many ways to use it, but I find like super hard like to control, and you know you can always like pull it back and forth to have like a really smooth curve. And if you want to do like a loop around, you can press shift, stuff like that. But let's just say you just want to put like a strap and you want to go like continuous, and it's kind of hard, like see like it goes like crazy. So usually the way I use it is like I try to go and just do like a tiny stroke, and then I'll go up until I get like this red line connecting to. This means like I can just overextend this. I find it like a lot easier. And another thing that I will do would be because let's just say like I want my rope to be this big, but if I draw like that, damn, it's kind of hard to control. So I will just go in, make a tiny brush, then have something a lot easier to control, place it around, and you can always like play around with the, you saw like earlier, the embed. If you want it like more inside of the surface or outside. Now it's like really floating on top. And yeah, as long when you're playing with this, you just click back on the curve and then it re-updates. And when you change like the size, it needs to be really red, like the circle needs to be red. If it's blue and then you just scale up, you will just like manipulate the curve. You won't change like anything. But if you switch it over here and then you click back, then you update it. So yeah, usually that's how I do. Like I'll do that. I know that there's like other options to smooth out the curve, and you can always like play around with the lock and then lock start to do like the same thing. But yeah, it's sorry, it was like such a such a quick thing, and it was like kind of messy. But yeah, I hope you'll be able to make your Eyepatch. So on that, I'd like to say, everyone, have a great week, and I hope to see you soon in another stream. For Pixelogic, it's gonna be like only this week, but I plan to stream on my channel on Wednesday and Friday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Time, Canada. So if you want to join in, then feel free to come. On that, have a good night, or a good morning, or a good evening. Bye bye.